Hello and welcome back to the Not the Old Firm YouTube channel. My name is Ben Banks, here to look ahead to the Scottish Cup quarter-final matches, as well as hearing from a few of the managers involved in this weekend and into the start of next week's fixtures. We've got four ties, of course, to look ahead to. No Premiership fixtures, still have bits and bobs of the lower league stuff as the splits come into effect there in League One and League Two, as well as the final couple of Championship games, the first of those two playing on Saturday as well. But focusing on the Scottish Cup here, there are four ties on the Saturday. Hibs versus Motherwell kicks us off on the Saturday night. We've got the New Firm with on the Sunday, and that's of course Aberdeen versus Dundee United. Rangers versus St Johnstone follows shortly after that before St Mirren travel to Kilmarnock on Monday night to make up the semi-final and the last four for teams who get to go to Hampden this season in the Scottish Cup. Get straight into it. Hibs v Mull, we'll start with that. It could for Hibs, I mean, they've already secured European football this week by beating Livingston 2-1, so they're going to play in either the Europa League or the Europa Conference next season. The potential for group stage football for Hibs awaiting them, and it's a big game for them. Jack Ross has spoke often this season of wanting to make it the norm for Hibs to win trophies and finish third in the Scottish Premiership. If they do finish third in the Scottish Premiership this season, it'll be the first time they've did that since I think 2005, which is quite startling when you consider that Kilmarnock have finished third a couple of times. St Johnstone have did the same, perhaps most notably in terms of consistent league success. In terms of provincial clubs, Motherwell did that quite prominently, while Rangers were out the league as well. So they have had opportunities. They look like they're going to do it this season, but they want Scottish Cup success along with that. 5 years they've had to wait since the 2016 bout with the victory there on the famous day in May. But they'll be wanting something a bit more now. They have been to several semi-finals, most notably the Scottish Cup semi-final last season that was obviously played at the start of this campaign, which they lost to Hearts, which was a bitter blow, on top of losing the League Cup semi-final in January. So they haven't had much luck at the semi-final stage. However, quarterfinals they have been fairly decent. As for Motherwell, it could change the perspective on their season a bit if you say to a Motherwell fan that they have secured the Premiership status, of course, even though that's probably the minimum objective for Motherwell in a season. They are a team that want to push for the top six every season. If they do just fall, if they fall outside of that and they finish between 7th and 9th, well, that's not great. If you add a Europa League third round qualification into that, where they got beat off Hapoel Beersheva, so they won a few games in Europe and then got to a Scottish Cup semi-final. While still a disappointing league campaign, it changes the narrative a bit for Graham Alexander's side. Perhaps the football has been criticised a wee bit in the last few weeks, but they have gained the most points out of anybody outside of Glasgow since Graham Alexander took charge of Motherwell. So while football in the park can perhaps improve, they're certainly doing something right in terms of results. So this one's going to be really intriguing. Motherwell winning the last tie, Easter Road 2-0. We heard from Jack Ross and Graham Alexander ahead of this one. Jack Ross's players are attracting interest down south, and he is prepared if that is the case and some of them do head south. Is Graham Alexander not turning up at Easter Road for a day out?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an element that's the nature of the beast in all walks of life and in all sports that the most powerful or richest or biggest clubs will always be in the best position to take the best players. So I think we have to be realistic about that and try and keep our good players and our best players as long as we possibly can, but have the foresight to acknowledge it. We may lose them at some point, but can we continue to produce others, whether that's within our own system or whether it's through the recruitment and then the identification of those that will make you a better team, whether they're established players or whether they're ones that have potential. So I think it does, is the point you're making, I think it does make it incredibly difficult to break into that high part of the league again in Scotland. I think that's been seen. I think people have spoken about it regularly upon Derek leaving Aberdeen, that the challenge he faced in that period, he losing his best players along the way, and I think we know that the summer may prove challenging for us in that regard as well. But it's just the nature of the job at a club of different sizes, have different challenges. We've got a lot of brilliant things about this club, but we're also acutely aware, and history shows that it can be difficult to hold on to your top players for a sustained period of time.
For me, I've had experience of these types of games, as in playoffs and so forth, and getting to the venue is not the ultimate aim for me as a player or as a manager. Winning the game is the ultimate aim. So getting to a semi-final, playing at Hampden and not winning, I don't get what we get out of that, personally. I think it's about winning a game of football, and the target, I think, for every club that's still in the competition is to win the competition. It's not to have a game at Hampden. That's how I would approach it, and that is our aim. So our aim is to go to Hibs and try and win a real hard competitive game of football, regardless of where the next game is. It's the next round for us, and that's how we have to approach it. I think look, positive results, like I say, winning a game of football, it's always about going home feeling good about yourself, and we felt good about ourselves after that game because we went to an extremely hard venue against a very good team and won there for the first time in a lot of attempts and years. So it does build up confidence, but we always balance that out with what we did there doesn't win us the game tomorrow. So we will there'll be different players playing, because obviously Tony Watt and Jordan Roberts played that day, so, and we haven't got them at the moment. So we have to change the team. We have to find different ways of winning. We changed the other day to beat Hamilton, and we have to look at what we have to do tomorrow to win this particular game. So I think winning every game of football, any game of football, breeds confidence, and that's what we've done. We've been on a really good run. We've had to fight really hard and haven't played as well as we'd liked in some games, but we've got the result, and football's about.
Aberdeen versus Dundee United. Aberdeen again, it's a bit similar to Mull, even though Aberdeen are unusually, but whereabouts they usually finish in a season has been disappointing. It's led to Derek McInnes leaving. The football hasn't been all that great, but 1-1 draw with Celtic midweek definitely showed some more positive signs after winning last weekend in the Scottish Cup against Livingston. Been a good start to life under Stephen Glass, and if they manage to make a semi-final without Celtic being in there, although Rangers could still be in there if they get past St Johnstone, they don't have to face Celtic, which I'm sure will be much of a relief to Dons fans everywhere. Dundee United, it's been a fairly decent season without being spectacular for them. They're safe in the Premiership in their first season back, never looking likely to go straight back down to the Championship at any stage. If they manage to get to a semi-final, Mickey Mellon saying similar things to Jack Ross, a club the size of Dundee United should be pushing for cup semi-finals and finals every season with top six a minimum. They haven't quite did that this year, although I don't think many people would have expected it, given that they have just come up to the Premiership for the first time in a few seasons. But that'll be their objective next season, in the short term, a Scottish Cup semi-final and solidifying their Scottish Premiership status. It would be then looked on as a very good season for Dundee United. Rangers versus St Johnstone is the third and penultimate Scottish Cup tie. We'll obviously focus on St Johnstone. Rangers rampant in the league, but St Johnstone arguably having the best season out of everybody else sort of in Scotland, really. They've won the League Cup, they're the League Cup holders, they've got a top six spot, perhaps against the odds against St Mirren, looking likely for most of the season to get that. They snatched it on the final day pre-split, and it's been a very, very impressive first season for Callum Davidson as a manager. It's going to be hard for him to live up to that next season. Cup final wins don't come about all that often, and the top six, well, St Johnstone have made a habit of it in recent years. That also isn't a given. So they've been doing really well. If they manage to get through this Rangers team, then it goes from a good season to an incredible season for St Johnstone. You could already argue it's been an incredible season given that they have got silverware in the trophy cabinet, but it would be, I've not got the words to describe it. It would be unbelievable if they managed to get past Rangers at Ibrox, and they also managed to win the League Cup twice. trips to Hampden in 2 competitions. And if they did manage to get through Rangers, given their record in cup competitions this season, you really wouldn't want to bet against St Johnstone perhaps winning this full thing. I mean, you could potentially, if you see, I'd say Hibs, Aberdeen, Rangers, and probably St Mirren are the favourites to be in the semi-final if you go purely on league position. If St Johnstone did get, say, even Dundee United go through, Hibs, anybody else left in the competition, you would back St Johnstone to beat. So, yeah, big one for the Saints on Sunday, although they will be massive underdogs in that one. And on the Monday, Kilmarnock versus St Mirren. Kilmarnock perhaps with bigger fish to fry at the moment in the league. It's a bit of an odd one for them. They are scrapping for Premiership survival with Kyle Lafferty scoring 10 goals in 8 games. He looks to be the difference for them if they're going to survive in the league this term. Whereas Jim Goodwin's team, this is their full focus, the biggest game of their season in terms of keeping it alive. He said, I think, last week prior to the Ross County game that they won 3-1, that it was now their main objective. The league was a secondary competition because they're not going to get relegated. They can't meet the top 6. This is all St Mirren have to play for, really, this season. Jim Goodwin will be so motivated to get to a semi-final. I believe, somebody do correct me if I am wrong, but I believe this will be the first time St Mirren will, if they do win, make 2 semi-finals in the one season, which would be a great achievement for Jim Goodwin, similar to Callum Davidson, whilst perhaps not as spectacular. A comfortable season without any relegation fears and 2 cup semi-finals would be a very, very impressive season for Jim Goodwin, on top of bringing through a lot of academy youngsters into the first team environment. And for Kilmarnock, as already touched on, if they did lose this, it would be a bit of a blow, but at the same time, their focus is going to be on their remaining 3 Premiership matches. They are in pole position now to survive and not have to compete a relegation playoff, or at worst go straight down to the Championship. That Kyle Lafferty looks to be the difference between them, Ross County and Hamilton. Ross County can't really, they can outscore teams. They're not great defensively. They have got a goal or 2 in them. Hamilton can't seem to really find the goal, but Kilmarnock are hitting form at the right time, and none more so than Kyle Lafferty, who's in double digits after 8 games. Pretty incredible stuff from him. But talking of signings, we had from Jim Goodwin ahead of this one, Daniel Finlayson made his debut last week for St Mirren. He's on loan from Rangers, and that'll become permanent in the summer.
For the future, and we had that conversation with Daniel and his representatives, and we explained the project that we had and what we were looking for from Daniel. It was never about Daniel coming in and getting 15 or 20 first team games. We wanted him to come in and train with senior pros on a daily basis and compete against the likes of Obika and Erwin and Dennis and learn. He can play centre half, or he can play right back. He can also play right centre half in a back 3. So he covers a number of positions in the defensive area. He had a really good loan period out at Orange County. Rangers have got a tie-in out there with Orange County, and it was a very, very successful loan period. I watched a number of his games on YouTube, and he caught the eye just with his energy, his athleticism, his professionalism. And yeah, he's one that we are looking at the moment as, another type of Marcus Fraser kind of player, a Jason Naismith type, one that's going to be hopefully go on and have a very successful career. And Daniel is one of a number of young lads in the squad at the moment, as we've all spoke about there. Jay Henderson, Dylan Reid, Lewis Jameson. There's a number of them training with the first team on a regular basis, and they're learning every day, which is the most important thing.
And that's all we've got time for on this preview. We hope you have enjoyed. Do remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We will do a review of these games, and we haven't done them so far for the Scottish Cup games, but as we hit the later stages, we will do a review of these 4 games, and that'll be out on Tuesday night. So do check that out when it comes around. That'll probably be the next video on this channel. Outside a very special one on the Saturday that we've put together in light of news this week. So we hope you do enjoy that. Right. That's all we've got time for on this. We hope you have enjoyed doing our relentless video. Subscribe to the channel, and until next time, take it easy.